Some matchups in this league get more hype than others, and perhaps none are more tantalizing when the number 1 and the number 2 picks square off against each other. Since the merger, there have been 24 times the top 2 rookies met up during the regular season. From big-name quarterback battles to dynamic edge rushers, here's every time the 2 top picks have gone head-to-head as rookies since 1970. The latest installment was between Carolina's Bryce Young and Houston's CJ Stoud. The childhood friends squared off in what ended up being a nail-biter, as Young led a game-winning drive ending in an Eddie Pinheiro field goal as time expired. Young played relatively flawlessly, accounting for 235 passing yards and a TD, while Stoud countered with 140 yards through the air and a rushing touchdown.
It's a sneak! Did he get in? Yes! They say it's a touchdown for Stoud. Covered to the backfield. Young throws for the end zone. Caught! Touchdown! Tommy Tremble, the tight end.
Week 13 of the 2022 season featured Georgia's Travon Walker against Michigan's Aiden Hutchinson. Both defensive players performed admirably, with Walker registering 5 total tackles, while Hutchinson compiled 2 tackles and a half sack.
You get a cookie after this, Jared Goff, if you close this out as they work the ball. Oh, good defense in the backfield there. Travon Walker, I haven't talked a lot about him, but he is developing fast. The first overall pick in the draft. Lawrence continuing to tough it out, but he is sacked at the 20. Aiden Hutchinson, that's 6.5 now for the rookie this year.
Ultimately, it was Hutchinson and the Lions who got the last laugh that day as Detroit routed Jacksonville 40-14. In a much-anticipated matchup between the top 2 quarterbacks from the 2021 draft class, Zach Wilson's Jets outlasted Trevor Lawrence's Jaguars 26-21. Lawrence did all he could for the last-place Jags, completing 26 of 39 passes for 280 yards.
3 tight ends on 4th and a yard. Play action from Lawrence. They're going to throw it far side of the field. Open is Treadwell. Slinging it over the middle, completes. Beautiful pass from Lawrence. Play action, bootleg here. Throws on the run along the side, completes. What a pass to Tavon Austin.
His counterpart delivered in a winning effort, however, as the former BYU Cougar notched a touchdown through the air and on the ground.
Wilson takes a snapshot of the defense. Here they come on 3rd and 5. Wilson, boy, somehow escapes. He's going to run for it. First down, Jets. Wilson. Plenty of green grass. Wilson stays in bounds. He's still going. And he's in. Touchdown.
2020's version of the number 1 versus number 2 pick was unfortunately short-lived, as Cincinnati quarterback Joe Burrow suffered a season-ending injury early in the 3rd quarter.
In the NFL this season, 3rd and 2. Burrow hit on the release, puts an air under it, near side for Boyd, and it's incomplete. Burrow, oh boy, clutching his left leg. It wasn't pretty. Certainly looks like something substantial.
Defensively, Commanders edge rusher Chase Young put forth a solid outing. The Ohio State product made 3 tackles and forced a fumble.
From the 10, in trouble, sidesteps a hit. Now scrambling right, trying to run it into the end zone. Now the ball is on the ground at the 2.
Not many people built like that, and he just clobbers Joe Burrow.
In a game that perhaps could have been closer if not for Burrow's injury, Washington prevailed by a score of 20-9. In another quarterback versus edge rusher matchup, 2019 pitted the Cardinals' Kyler Murray against the 49ers' Nick Bosa. The first clash came in Week 9, with San Francisco winning 28-25. Bosa accumulated 1 tackle, while Murray shined in a 241-yard 2 TD effort.
Murray fires, pass is caught, and now down the sideline. Look out. Isabella, the rookie, gets a block and goes in for the touchdown. There are no flags.
2 weeks later, the 49ers win again. Murray put in another solid dual-threat performance with 3 total touchdowns.
Quick snap, Murray keeps. Kyler Murray with a first down. Kyler Murray to the end zone. Touchdown, Cardinals.
But Bosa wreaked havoc on Murray as he accounted for 3 tackles and a QB hit, including 1 for a loss.
Drake again in some trouble here. And a group of 49ers led by Bosa.
former Texas A&M standout Myles Garrett made life tricky for number 2 overall pick Mitch Trubisky in 2017.
Buffalo wraps it up next week against Miami, but first they got to get through New England, and Trubisky is sandwiched. Myles Garrett, James Burgess. There were a lot of Browns who were in the mix.
But it was Trubisky and the Bears who ultimately put a hurting on Cleveland, winning 20-3. That was the Browns' 15th loss that year en route to an 0-16 season. Trubisky led the way with 237 total yards and a rushing TD in Chicago's victory.
2 receivers to the bottom. Trubisky's going to keep it himself. This is what we saw last week with Baltimore, and Trubisky bounces into the end zone.
For the first time since 1998, a pair of quarterbacks drafted 1 and number 2 overall would face off in a game in their rookie year. The highly anticipated contest pitted Florida State's Jamus Winston against Oregon's Marcus Mariota. The former Heisman winners duked it out in the season's first game, with Mariota's Titans besting Winston's Bucks 42-14.
They give it to on the play action. It's Mariota to Kendall Wright. Wright is off to the races, and it's the first touchdown of Marcus Mariota's career.
9 times as a collegiate quarterback, he threw for 4 or more touchdowns during the course of a game. I don't know how many times he threw for 4 in the first half. He's making it look easy.
Mariota had one of the greatest debuts in NFL history, a perfect 158.3 passer rating to go along with 4 touchdown passes. Jamus threw for 210 yards, 2 TDs, and 2 picks.
3rd down and 3 for Tampa Bay. Jamus' first pass, intercepted, sends the ball to the house.
In another Week 1 battle between the top 2 rookies, Kansas City's Eric Fisher and Jacksonville's Luke Jokel both started on their respective offensive lines. This one wasn't close, though, as the Chiefs laid a beat down on the Jags 28-2 in Andy Reid's first game as Chiefs head coach.
And there you see, working right there on the number 2 pick in the draft, Luke Jokel just can't get back deep enough.
His responsibility on that play is to get into Tabahali, get his hands down. Obviously, he did not do his job.
In 2010, a couple former Big 12 rivals faced off as St. Louis's Sam Bradford took on Detroit's Ndamukong Suh. Suh and the Detroit defense let Bradford have it with a 44-6 shellacking of the Rams. The former Nebraska Cornhusker recorded 3 tackles and his only career interception that day.
And that ball tipped up and intercepted. Ndamukong Suh comes up with a big play.
You don't think he has some motivation in this game, trying to show the Rams, hey, you guys should have taken me number 1.
While the Oklahoma product struggled, going for 215 yards and 2 interceptions.
Came up with his first career interception off of his own tip. This could go to the house. Alphonso Smith will take it there.
Week 8, 2009, in Detroit was the scene for the top rookie matchup that year between Georgia's Matthew Stafford and Baylor's Jason Smith. As the Lions' starting quarterback, Stafford threw for 168 yards, adding a rushing touchdown.
4 wide receiver look. Stafford moving. He'll take it himself and get it. Touchdown Lions.
Smith started at right tackle for the Rams that game, helping St. Louis earn the hard-fought 17-10 win. In a battle of the longs, the unrelated Jake and Chris matched up in Week 13 of the 2008 season. Jake and the Dolphins eked out a win against Chris and the Rams by a score of 16-12. Jake started at the all-important left tackle position, while Chris provided a force to the St. Louis D-line, compiling a tackle for loss and 2 QB hits. In 1998, all eyes were on the Week 5 blockbuster matchup between Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf, a game that featured 2 struggling rookie quarterbacks looking to prove they could turn things around. But this game provided more tough times for the young QBs, with Manning throwing for just 137 yards, while Leaf accounted for just 160 through the air.
They need to get to the 49-yard line. Ryan Leaf standing in the pocket, and it's picked up. Elijah Alexander with the interception. Turnovers continue for Ryan Leaf.
Much to Leaf's chagrin, Manning and the Colts bested the Chargers in a low-scoring affair 17-12.
Harris in the motion man once again. They fake the reverse. Manning wide open in the end zone. Touchdown Marshall Faulk. 19 yards.
1997 showcased a battle of the big men as Orlando Pace and Darrell Russell squared off in an interconference matchup. Pace made his first career start at left tackle for the Rams, but Russell and the Raiders' defense gave St. Louis fits as they went on to win handily 35-17. Russell finished with 2 tackles and a pass breakup in that contest. The legendary Marshall Faulk got a chance to show the Bengals firsthand in Week 12 of the 1994 season that they should have drafted him number 1 overall. But in what turned out to be a low-scoring affair, first overall pick Dan Wilkinson dominated on defense for Cincinnati, finishing with 7 tackles on the day.
Here's Faulk, and he stopped short of the first down. Dan Wilkinson got him and brought him down.
However, it was the future Hall of Famer whose lone rushing score made all the difference in the Colts' 17-13 win over the Bengals.
First and goal from inside the 1. Back to Marshall Faulk, and he hurdles in for the touchdown.
In the first matchup of top rookie quarterbacks since 1970, Drew Bledsoe and Rick Meyer took center stage in a Week 3 affair pitting the Patriots against the Seahawks in Foxborough. While this early season matchup may not have yielded the gaudy stats people hoped for, the Seahawks prevailed in a hard-fought battle. Bledsoe finished with 238 passing yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions, outgaining Seattle's Meyer, who compiled 138 yards from scrimmage, a passing touchdown, and 1 pick.
Showing it here, the quick drop standing in. Another great throw. On the run is tight end Ben Coates, and he dives in. There's the touchdown call. Second down and goal now for the Seahawks at the 5-yard line. Meyer stands in. Here's a throw and a catch. It's a touchdown for the Seahawks.
1990 saw a pair of divisional matchups between the 2 top picks from that year's draft. Indianapolis's Jeff George and New York's Blair Thomas headlined the Colts-Jets matchups in both Weeks 11 and 15. In the first game, George engineered his second career fourth-quarter comeback after being down 14-0. Indy would escape with a 17-14 win at home behind his 249-yard, 2 TD performance.
I noticed there was no comment. George goes for the end zone. Touchdown!
Thomas gained 28 rushing yards and posted career highs with 8 catches for 82 receiving yards in the matchup. 4 weeks later, Indy wins again, this time by a score of 29-21. Thomas rushed for 63 yards, while George posted another strong showing, throwing for 212 yards and a TD.
Hester starts in motion right to left. Jeff drops to throw, sets, looks, throws one over the middle. Brooks is there. And Verdine, touchdown clearance!
After missing what was going to be their initial meeting in Week 5 because of a broken finger, 1989 number 1 pick Troy Aikman struggled mightily against the Packers, throwing 4 interceptions, the second most in a game in his career.
Hyperextended knee. Tim Harris. And it's intercepted. 2nd and 12. Aikman going up top. Looking for Shepard. And it's intercepted. 4th interception of the day for the Packers.
While number 2 pick Tony Mandarich didn't start the game, his Packers went on to a 20-10 victory. Aikman finished with an 0-11 QB record that season as Dallas plummeted to 1-15. The 2 top draft picks in 1982 were on the defensive side of the ball. New England defensive end Kenneth Sims and Baltimore linebacker Johnny Cooks showcased their talents in a matchup that ended as a 24-13 Patriots win. Running back George Rogers was ready to put the league on notice after a successful career at South Carolina. The Saints' first overall selection started out hot but ran into a future Hall of Famer and their emerging defense in Week 3 of the 1981 season. Lawrence Taylor's Giants took on the top pick and rocked the Saints all the way back to New Orleans with a convincing 20-7 victory. Rogers finished with 75 rushing yards, while LT garnered 3 tackles on the day. In 1978, number 1 pick Earl Campbell met number 2 pick Art Still, and while it was more of a defensive battle with Houston winning 20-17, the Tyler Rose could not be denied, putting forth a 107-yard, 2 TD performance, sealing the win.
Campbell. Outside. Touchdown!
Earl Campbell. Oh, boy. Touchdown.
Week 3 of the 1977 season provided the perfect opportunity to see who was the better running back between USC's Ricky Bell and Pittsburgh's Tony Dorset. Spoiler alert, the Hall of Famer won the statistical battle and the game. Dorset, who compiled 88 yards from scrimmage, helped Dallas beat the Bucs 23-7. Bell only managed 7 total yards on 3 carries. In 1976, 2 new expansion teams entered the NFL and were granted the top 2 picks in the draft. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers took future Hall of Fame defensive end Leeroy Selman with the first, while the Seattle Seahawks selected defensive tackle Steve Niehaus. The 2 teams faced off in Week 6, with Seattle barely beating the Bucs 13-10. 1970 number 1 overall pick and future Hall of Fame quarterback Terry Bradshaw had one of his worst days as a pro Week 12 of his rookie campaign. Defensive tackle Mike McCoy and the Green Bay Packers came hunting that game, beating the Steelers 20-12. Bradshaw struggled, going 3 for 20 with 110 yards and 4 costly interceptions.